ask you about what you thought of the spring. I mean, I was at the spring game. I loved what I saw. I liked that the offense was able to operate in the no huddle. I saw that from the beginning, that they looked organized and able to operate, get in and out of the huddle, get plays out quickly. But what did you see from the spring game, especially from your first group offense?
I thought we were really efficient, which is a loaded word. We want to not have a lot of mistakes, not a lot of mental errors. We want the guys to play with confidence and play really fast. We're 5 years into this offense. I mean, the offensive coaches have made a number of great adjustments, and we always evolve from year to year. And I don't think a lot of people, it's not just the same old plays every year, even though there's a lot of similarities. So I love the evolution of where we are right now. I think we have more weapons on offense than we've ever had. Collectively, I think our receiving core is really good. I think some tight ends stepped up, and I think our running backs are really dangerous too, to go along with Darius and his dynamic play. I think he's one of the dynamic players in the whole country, and will be fun to watch, fun for the fans to watch him in his senior year. So I thought all those elements made progress, and it kind of came together a little bit, I think, and we showed some of that came together in the spring game.
Right, and just one of my favorite things about playing in this offense, especially when we got into the season, and something that I always talk to people about, was we were really good at you talked about the evolution of the offense, and I felt like we were really good each week saying, hey, here's what these teams are doing, here's 3 or 4 plays that we're going to add in that are little wrinkles. And we could bust them up wide open, right? And I think we've always done a good job of that. But I saw the first group and the second group really operate the base offense well, which is what you want to see in the spring.
Yes, absolutely. And related to what you were saying, Broch, is, and it's been one of my fetishes for a long time as a football coach, and goes back to my days as a player, that when you're playing offensive football and a team is blitzing you or bringing pressure, just bringing a lot of guys.
Let's throw right over the top of them.
and it's threatening and it's physical, and you've got to have a plan. So I always thought, when I'm in charge, we got to give the quarterback tools and answers, versus those things. And our defense really puts us to the test. We're very, very active, very, very sound. We're blitzing more, not a lot of blitzes, but some very, very effective blitzes. It really puts some pressure on us. But again, for the players to know the answers is one thing, to execute the answers is another thing, and to execute the answers on a Saturday in the fall is another thing. Bill Walsh would say there's all these walkthroughs, jog-throughs. We'll start with meetings, walkthroughs, jog-throughs, run-throughs, live periods, scrimmages, and then you still aren't to the competitive phase, which is the game on Saturday, which is where you want it to happen, which is where you want your guys to flourish.
And so, and speaking on the tools that you're given, how do you feel Darius has been handling? He's had such a growth over the last 4 years. I got to play with him in his first 2 years, and I've seen nothing but growth every season from him. Where do you see his biggest growth? Because everybody, it's advertised. It's as advertised. He's as athletic as anyone's ever heard. One of the fastest players in the league at any position. Throws a great deep ball. He's got as strong of an arm as anyone in the NAI does. But how do you feel about his progression mentally through the last few years?
Well, I think mentally he's improved in a number of areas, and one of those is to unknowing and understanding the tools, taking advantage of them when they're there. So the old adage of take what the defense gives you is important, but the other side of that is how can we exploit what the defense is giving to us, and that there's a progression there, and it's really, really important for people to know. The quarterback, in my opinion, is the most difficult position to play in all of sports. Some may differ with me, but it's because, especially if you have an offense like ours where the ball is in the quarterback's hands, he's got to make all the decisions. So decision making is part of it. Decision making in the clutch, decision making under pressure, decision making under physical duress is not an easy thing, but that's what the responsibility is. So that's the way our offense is all geared.
Absolutely.
Now, Darius is the first one to say he's just another guy on the team, no more important as anybody else. But I think everybody understands the amount of decisions that he has to make in our offense, in the run game and the pass game, since we're running the option. So, but he's just gotten progressively better. I think physically, where he's gotten better is Another Bill Walshism for you, Brock, but he
It
said
never ends with him.
the most important thing for a quarterback is to throw a catchable ball. And I think Darius throws the ball extraordinarily well deep, and the mid-range stuff, deep comebacks and stuff like that, he is fantastic. And I think he's worked exceedingly hard on being better on the short stuff, getting the ball out of his hand quicker, making it catchable, realizing if he hits a receiver in stride and that ball's right there, that guy
Now we got to run after the catch. Now we got to run after the catch.
And that's where we're going to get better. That's what's exciting about the spring is with our running backs, Dom Garzoli, Justin Hellier, and Nick Calzaretta. They all greatly improved their ball catching. Of course, the tight ends and receivers, they do that very well too. The other thing is his understanding of the defensive structure and just the way defenses work. And the Frontier Conference is loaded with very good defense and quirky kind of defenses.
And that's tough to do when you come in as a freshman, you know, and you get as much playing time as he has. It's just, you know, obviously handling school and just everything that comes with being a college athlete, but and a starting quarterback on top of that. But you know, I know that's something that he's progressed a lot in, because it's tough. You come in the beginning and you're getting all these different fronts thrown at you and all these different blitzes, and it's tough to manage when you just don't have the experience like he has now.
Yeah, that's a great point, Brock, because all of our guys are coming from high school or all league. They're the best players in their league, best players at their school, best players in their league. So you tend to come in as a freshman and think, hey, this is going to be just like high school. It's going to be easy. And Darius has a lot of confidence, and that's a good thing. And but then there's a portion of that has to be modified and begin to appreciate the intricacies of the college game. So again, that's where he's progressed a little bit in understanding the nuance and just how difficult it is to be really, really good play after play after play, series after series, come back after you've been knocked down, all those kind of things. But it really is the intellectual part of the game, which isn't just head knowledge.
Right.
It's just the basics of the game and understanding what defensive structure. And quickly, Mike Cody, our offensive coordinator, that's his strength. He's a defensive structure genius. And so he's really helped. Darius has taken advantage of his first quarterback coach, Mitch Dolan, extraordinary coach, now the offensive coordinator at Black Hills State in South Dakota. And then Mike Cody coming in, and all coaches are a little bit different and have different strengths. Mike's strength for sure is in defensive structure. And I think that's freeing Darius up to understand and for him to play faster, even more confident, and we think more effective too.
And a couple of just points to make. I think first, before we touch on a couple more offensive players and move on to the defense, you know, number one, I think my favorite part about playing with Darius when I was a player was his toughness. He's just tough as nails. He is. He takes big shots, always gets back up. He runs the ball hard. I'm sure there's a few more times you wish he'd get down or get out of bounds. But
he's learning that too.
But he was someone that I thought we could always rally around, you know, and that was great. But on top of that, you know, just for the fans, you know, the athleticism can only go so far, right? If you want to win the league, especially in the Frontier Conference, if you want to make a deep playoff run, good decisions have to be made. And critical decisions have to be made, and critical errors have to be avoided. And so, you know, that'll be a big thing for you guys' team coming up this year is Darius avoiding those things.
Yeah, the young guy mentality. When he was younger, he was thinking, well, things aren't going well, I got to do it all myself, which is really the wrong way to think. And so that takes maturing and saying, no, I got to do what the play demands. You know, what I'm seeing, what I'm reading, and not what I thought I read, or not because I'm angry and I want to truck somebody, not because I want to feel like it's all on my shoulders to make the big play. There's enough pressure in the game for that position. So that's one thing that I get very much involved in too, in terms of the game planning, where we have to protect all the players. I have to protect the coaches and the players and let them coach, let them play, and that's all. How many plays do we got in the system? How many in the game plan? How many? What am I asking the coaches to do? Am I giving them enough time to do what they need to do to be effective?
Yes, sir. So, and then a couple players I wanted you to touch on that are, because a lot of you fans know about the Hunter Juarez's and Connor Richardson's, who had great years. Nick Calzaretta has been a great back for us for a couple years, but two kind of glue guys that I want you to touch on. Tyler Ray and Justin Hellier, what they mean to your offense and really their roles going forward this year and how that maybe grows.
And what's so important about those two guys, I'm glad you mentioned those guys, they are, they hold the whole program together because
Blue guys, yep.
two, they're known by all the players as two of the toughest guys on the team. Justin Hellier just won the offensive award for the pound-for-pound strongest guy on the team. And what most people wouldn't know is that he is, my opinion, a Division I special teams player. He just has maybe even better than that. I mean, he's really something. He loves it. He loves the physical part of the game. He loves to tackle, loves to block, loves to do all those things.
And he's got some ability.
Absolutely.
He can
when
run,
he gets in the backfield, no, he's got great instincts. He had a fantastic spring. He catches the ball well. We got to find a way to get those three guys. But in this day and age, 3 running backs is not too much. So Nick, who had a broken hand last year, Hellier emerged later in the season. Dom Garzoli's been nicked up a little bit.
But he's steady.
He's a very good player.
Yes.
So those 3 guys we feel great about. But really, it's just that toughness and the love for the toughest parts of the game. That's what Justin Hellier is, and Tyler Ray too. So I love Tyler Ray, and he is a small town guy, rodeo guy. I think he was business student of the year at the college this year. Works 20 hours for Simplot. We featured him at the steak feed, which is our big fundraiser, and he is just the epitome of what the program is about. I think everybody on the team respects him, everybody likes him, and they know he's going to show up, and we know that we have to be the most physical team. And we may not be the biggest and strongest, but we're going to be very, very physical in our style of play. At his position, tight end, that is critically imperative. He in many cases is the point man for all we're doing in the run game.
Yes, sir. So going over the defensive side, another year under Coach Jewell, has been with you since the inception, pretty much.
Yep.
The defense has been growing each year as the program. You feel like all phases of the team have just been getting better and better. Special teams getting better and better. So, I want you to kind of touch on Coach Jewell and his entire scheme, but, some guys that are really important to you, Jaden Dawson's growth and what Landon Gamble can do this year for you guys, and a couple of the key players that you saw through the spring.
Yeah, and those are key guys. But first, Coach Jewell, he does a fantastic job, and it was an adjustment for all of us in the early years of the program. What were we able to do? There's an infinite number of things you could do. Lots of good things, lots of sound things. But we were just so young and inexperienced at most positions. So we've evolved, and Coach Jewell's done a good job of being smarter and giving our guys a chance to be really, really good and perform at their highest level when the game's on the line. And we were involved in a handful of games where we were winning or had a chance to win late in the game. Now we expect to always have a chance to win. And so it's even more imperative that we understand in every phase, but especially defensively, that every play matters.
And, just speaking on the defense too, people who have been around the Frontier Conference, you see Southern Oregon, and you see a lot of the flashy deep balls and the high-powered offense, but really when they're making a run at a national championship, and when my senior year they were 11-0, phenomenal defense, physical, and great up front, great coverage, unbelievable safety play. And so while it's the point scoring is sexy and it's important to move the ball up and down the field, it's still football, and you still got to get stopped, right?
And sometimes we lose sight of. There's not many shutouts anymore. There's not many 10-9 games or 13-3 games in the Frontier Conference. But defense is still winning the conference. The best defensive teams are winning the conference year in and year out.
And you think of a Western when they were really tough for a couple of years there. Offense was average at best, with a tough power running team, but their defense would just swallow you up.
And we look at it every year, even last year, going over to Dillon, which might have been our greatest win. Certainly an even Steven game. Have a lot of respect for Western. Their defense is so sound, so well coached. Those guys are so physical. And playing on their Beaverhead Stadium field, we'd never won there, and we knew we were going to have to match their physicality. And defensively, We did, and it was really, really spectacular to see. Landon Gamble, this will be his 4th year. He's been here 5 years. Fantastic young man, has grown in every way, and really is the leader of the defensive line. And he just works on his craft, and I think he's underestimated for his athleticism, but what's not underestimated is his competitiveness and desire to play. Again, you never have too many guys that just love to play the game, and some don't have the opportunity because of injury or whatever, or not quite talented enough. But Landon loves to play. His enthusiasm is infectious. He's as competitive as I've ever seen, and he made some big plays for us last year.
Great hands.
Yeah,
Great
and
hands.
the Carroll game, he got the big sack that Danny Garcia scooped and scored on, which was ultimately the winning margin in that game. So, and Jaden Dawson had a great year last year as a redshirt freshman.
I see him as a pretty big breakout guy, just from outside looking in when I see him on the field.
And he could play multiple positions. Hopefully we'll be able to keep him in one spot at our, what we call our strong safety position, the guy that lines up over the slot. And he, again, is a very good competitor and smart player. I think we'll see him make another jump this year because of his knowledge of the system. So
and another great kid who, again, embodies what C of I is all about. Good student. I had classes with Jane even when he was a freshman. He just always seemed focused and dialed in, and what it's all about to be at the C of I.
Yeah, high amount of respect amongst his teammates, and he doesn't say a lot. Wish he'd say a little bit more sometimes, and he'll grow into that. And but again, the guys respect him, and it's a communication game, and it's a one of my big things, and we'll have to talk about this more later probably, but is, you've heard me say a bunch of times, Broch, that our team is all about leadership, and there's leaders, team leaders, and emerging leaders, not followers, so everybody. So Jaden is a big time emerging leader. He has to emerge in that respect.
Yes, sir.
He knows he's not the type guy that's going to make every play, but he knows what's happening. He knows the techniques. He's a technician. We can count on him in the clutch to make a big play. But also, he keeps that group together in the back end. And we have some experience coming back at corner. Tristan Alisi has played extremely well. And Isaiah Abdul is a true freshman last year, played extremely well.
Jordan Nero is a guy that's going to make plays
Jordan
for you guys.
Nero is always finds a way to make plays. He might be one of the best tacklers that we've ever had. And so it'll be his senior year as well, and he's gonna, so there's a little bit of competition back there for those safety positions. But
it's a good thing, that's what you want.
It is, it really is, and I've been telling the team recently in our recent meetings that even if we would have eked into the playoffs last year, we would have had 4 or 5 guys that started for us in the last game that wouldn't have been able to play the next week. So the question is, are we good enough? Are we ready? One of my favorite Dabo Swinney quotes from Clemson University is they pride themselves in playing more guys than any other program, and that helps with recruiting, it helps your practice, it helps everything you do, and that's become one of my new mantras, that coaches, we got to get more guys ready. Guys who are second and third string, you are going to play significant minutes in the middle of the season.
And football is a war of attrition. It just is. It's a war of attrition throughout the season, and you're going to lose guys. Every team from every level, high school, every level of college, is dealing with injuries, especially as you get later and later down the season. So the 2s and 3s, have to be at that level where we can win games still.
And everyone says next man up, and I've always had a little bit of problem with that because it kind of dehumanizes the game a little bit. And what I want to build is just a culture on the team where, gosh, every practice, every drill matters, and we're developing, and the older guys have to help, and
just guys getting
the
better.
younger guys.
Guys are just getting better.
And everybody, and if everybody's getting better, now we're moving in the right direction.
Absolutely. So that's great. And I want you to also really quick kind of preview the recruiting class, your guys' philosophy this year. I'm not sure. It seems as though there was a little bit of a shift. Got a lot of local guys, which I know us local alumni love. Everyone from the Nate Moores to the Maliks to Hunter Temples and Corey Britt. We all love the local guys coming in. And so just want to, kind of hear your philosophy. You can preview a couple guys if you'd like, and just maybe talk about the class as a whole coming in and what you're excited about.
It's a great class. You never say for sure it's your best class because it all depends on what happens when they get here. But two things that we targeted. Idaho guys, because it was a great year in Idaho, and that doesn't happen. Recruiting's always a cyclical thing, so the number of available guys in Idaho varies from year to year. Second thing on that, because we would love to get the most Idaho guys always, but I think the Valley, the Boise Valley for sure, is getting recruited 10 times harder by other schools than it ever has. So it's extremely competitive. But we have great relationships. Our coaches did a good job. We're also looking for really good students,
Yes, sir.
better students, and tough guys. We want tough guys.
That's what it's about.
And
So you can win with tough guys.
football's a tough game, and I think that we just need more of those guys, and I think we really did a great job in finding those guys.
Yeah.
So on offense, we got this guy from Bishop Kelly, an offensive tackle, Garrett Reberg. I think
Big kid.
the big kid, and the coaches there say he might be one of the best offensive linemen they've ever had. We think he's a great prospect. I think his feet are good enough where he'll be competing for playing time even this year. And he's a tough guy. He's looks like he's about 15. But, but he can move, he can play, he likes football, wants to be coached, wants to be good. He's really excited.
Yes, sir.
So then the quarterback position will be huge for the future. We signed Ryan Hibbs from Capitol High School, and that's a big get. He's another top-notch kid.
And he can be a glue guy for the program.
Absolutely.
You know, he's just that kind
and
of
with
guy.
quarterbacks, I was saying the other day that I like to watch them when they're playing against an overmatched team. I remember watching Darius's section final game against Central Catholic in Modesto, California, and they got beat up good. I wanted to see how Darius responded, and I wanted to see how Ryan Hibbs responded versus the Mountain Views and Eagles and the really great Rocky Mountain, the really great teams in the Valley, and he's a competitor. He really is. He throws the ball well. I think he's as good a quarterback prospect as we've ever had.
Capital's got tough guys. I mean, that's been Capital's mantra forever. They play a tough brand over there.
Coach Simmons is a great coach, not just a good coach. I have a huge amount of respect for him, but we're thrilled to have Ryan Hibbs. We did sign 2 quarterbacks this year. So this is an interesting angle of recruiting. Our other quarterback is Jacob Holcomb from Puyallup, Washington, younger brother of our backup quarterback right now. And to me, that says
Shout out Nasty Nate.
That says a lot about our program, that parents would want to send siblings to the same school. I mean, Nathaniel has really done a great job. He played great against Southern Oregon last year when Darius got dinged up. Typical backup. He comes in, hits 6 straight passes. Darius comes in, we score, and that got us within 1 score of the game, I believe. So, but that's the plight of the backup quarterback. It's always going to be competitive, but we're thrilled to get Jacob too. He's different than Nathaniel, but again, very good
more of a
student.
runner.
Little bit more of a runner, more running ability for sure. Nathaniel is the best thrower we got. He can really throw the ball.
Yeah.
So, and you have to deal with depth issues in recruiting. It's not just training camp where you develop your depth. So, we feel great about the quarterback position. So that's fantastic. And then Ed Osterberger from Timberline High School. Tough year this year. Timberline had a tough year, and that conference is tough. But his junior year, he was the player of the year in the league, and so I went back and watched all his junior film, and he's just good in tight spaces. I think
he kind of reminds me of Calzaretta a little bit. You know, I mean, just never get tired, just legs that keep going.
Well, for sure, Nick is just a tough guy. So he's not warmed up till he's carried the ball 20 times. But the other good thing about Nick, and so you're right, there is
the tight spaces.
Ed feels good in tight spaces. He can see, he can get on the edge of guys. So we're excited about him. I don't think we'll have to use him a lot this year. However, we're going to get him ready. I think he can be a guy like Justin Hellier on special teams. He's a hockey player. I like that. Lacrosse player, and he'll play lacrosse for the Yotes too. But I think those are some big time guys. I think that are gonna the fans are gonna see them in the years to come. They're gonna be really, really exciting to watch.
Absolutely. So some things I want to wrap it up with. There's going to be a ton of amazing content. We're really excited to, in the fall, hopefully get a podcast going where we're talking to players, coaches, and again, giving a more in-depth look. But this is an exciting season for the Yotes. Going into year 6, there's no excuses, right? This is a team that's capable of winning. We've showed that over the last couple of years that we're capable of winning at a high level in this league, especially doing it at the end of the season. It's one thing to do at the beginning. Of course, we'd love to get that going at the beginning of the year, but through the war of attrition, we've been able to win a lot of games at the end of the years and win convincingly in a lot of fashions, right? So, this is a big time year for the Yotes. It's a time to get excited, and there's a lot of good things to come, a lot of media coverage to come. So, is there any final thoughts you have?
I was just going to mention a couple guys on defense.
Yes, sir.
So, a couple recruits. Alex Ajoku from Boise High School. Great wrestler.
Yep.
I think state
Brother
champion
plays at
wrestler.
Boise State.
Boise plays at Boise State. So thrilled to get him. Very raw, but I think going to be a great player for us. Kenyon Harper, the next Leighton Vander Esch from Riggins.
Same school?
Same school.
Okay.
Yeah. Charlie Shepard Sr. is the coach.
That's a tall order.
No, and he's not late. There's only one Leighton Vander Esch, but this Kenyon Harper's an excellent football player.
Absolutely.
So he's
and love the small town guys always.
And then we got 3 corners. Corners are always hard to come by. Bridger Marbo from Eagle, Deshaun Harwell from Century Pocatello, who may even play basketball here. So he's that good. He's a fierce competitor. And his brother plays basketball at Boise State. So, and then Dorian Harden, who's the younger brother of Tayson Harden, who's already on from Washington. So there's another. We have more brothers on the team.
Good. I love it.
So
Dawson's are brothers. That's a good. That's not a bad thing.
So I think
parents are buying in.
Parents are buying in. Thing. So we are excited. The defensive class, and there's more guys that I could mention, but those are some ones that again the fans are going to enjoy watching.
And we'll get a chance to highlight a lot of these guys as time goes on. So anyway, excited to bring the content for you guys. Thanks for joining us up on the first installment of the Steel Show. We're going to be putting things out on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. We're going to be blasting it out on social media. When you come across it and you watch it, share it, tell your family and friends. And
give us any feedback.
Absolutely, give us feedback. And we're here to create a bigger buzz about C of I football and pack the stadium on Saturdays. So thanks for coming with us, guys.
Great stuff.